Assalamu alaikum, welcome again to my channel. I'm Abiola Balikis. You know what, this video is all you need to start making hoodie abaya for yourself and for others, because not only will I show you the step-by-step process of how I made this beautiful abaya, but I will also give you for free an all size measurement guide that will guide you through how to make this hoodie abaya for any size from 2 years old to adult, inshallah. So if you don't want to miss out, stay back and watch this video till the end. Now let's get started. To make your hoodie abaya, you need your fabric, you need 2 pieces of eyelet, you need elastic for the sleeve if you choose to use an elastic sleeve. You need your equipment for cutting, your tape measure, your scissors, your chalk, and you need your measurement. Aside the ebook that I will be sharing with you to make this hoodie, you need your dress length, you need your shoulder measurement or your half shoulder measurement and your sleeve length, and you need the face circumference measurement. So you will need these 4 measurements, so which means you need to take this measurement from your client. So the ebook that I will be sharing has the appropriate measurement for the hoodie and the hijab that you use for any size of your choice, and also the appropriate neck width and depth for each abaya for all the size categories, so you'll be able to know the perfect neck width and depth to use. For the exact hoodie and hijab measurement I've mentioned in the size guide, so that is what the ebook is all about. So the ebook won't tell you the length to use for a particular age or the sleeve length to use for the particular age, but the ebook is going to tell you everything you need to make the hoodie for a particular age and the hijab of that hoodie. You know, we have 2 pieces. We have the inner hijab and we have the hoodie outside. So the ebook is here to tell you what exact measurement to use for each age category. Now, to start cutting a abaya hoodie, I'll fold my back into 2. So I'm working with a length of 56 inches in this tutorial, a dress length of 56 inches. So I measured 58 inches, which means I'll be using 2 inches for my allowance. I'll join half on the shoulder and hem 1.5 inches. I will fold my back abaya length into 2, lay it on the ground, and also fold my front abaya length into 2 and lay it on the ground, because I will be using the full wideness of my crepe for the upper part of the abaya. It is the down part that I will try to slim a little, because my client doesn't want a very wide abaya. So that is what I did there. I measured 58 inches on the selvage. I fold it into 2 for the back abaya length, and also I did the same thing for the front length. I measured 58 inches from my fabric, fold it into 2, and I will lay it on this back length. Now that the front and back abaya lengths are properly laid on each other, I will now input my measurement. So I'll start by inputting the neck wideness. We'll be using a readily made size guide for this. According to the size guide, you can see we have the wideness of 5 to 6 inches for an adult, and we have the depth of 2.5 inches. So I'll measure 5 inches because this my client is not that chubby. She has a petite body, but if the client is someone that is blessed, then you can use 6 inches for the wideness. So you can use between 5 to 6 inches depending on the stature of your client for the wideness, but for the depth it is constant. It is 2.5 inches. Now, using my French curve, I'll just connect these 2 points. If you don't have a French curve, you can use your free hand just to connect the wideness and the depth of the neck. After that, I'll move to the selvage of the folded fabric and measure 2.5 inches downward. 2.5 inches downward. This is just to shape that shoulder side in, because our shoulder is not totally straight, so just to shape it in. Then I'll use my ruler to connect from the neck wideness to that point. After that, before I continue to input the other measurement, I will trim off the selvage because I don't want that in my abaya at all. So I will trim off the selvage before I continue to measure. Then I will measure my sleeve wideness. So this sleeve wideness depends on how you want the sleeve to be wide. For me, I use 8 inches. I don't like it too wide. I don't like it slim. So 8 inches is normal for me. Now after doing that, I will measure what I have. I will measure what I have from the folded edge of the fabric down to the selvage part. This will determine the length of sleeve I'll be adding to the abaya later. So let's assume my shoulder plus sleeve length is 32 inches. If what I measure here is 29 inches, it means I will just be adding just 3 to 4 inches, because sometimes we like the sleeve fuller and longer. So I can decide to make it 4 to 5 inches just to have that folded effect on the sleeve. But if I want my exact sleeve, it means I'll be adding just 3 inches of sleeve to this abaya to make up for my normal sleeve length. Or let's assume when I measured I have 25 inches, it means I'll be adding 7 inches length for my sleeve length. So this will differ from one person to another. So all you need to do is to measure what you have from the folded edge of your abaya down to the selvage area, what you have, deduct it from your actual sleeve plus shoulder length, and what you get will be the length of the sleeve you'll be adding to it. Now I will measure what I want for the wideness of the abaya. So this also differs from one person to another. If you want the full wideness, all you need to do is just to shape in a little from after where the sleeve wideness stops. You just shape in a little. But for me, I measure 25 inches wideness from this side of the abaya. So I'll just connect the sleeve point down to this wideness that I measured. Then I'll go to the down part, because this measurement I'm using is very wide. It's like 100 inches circumference for the abaya. So on the down part, I don't want it to be that wide. I will measure 20 inches on the down part area. I will measure 20 inches. Then after that, I'll connect the point I have on the down part to the point I have on the upper part to shape the abaya. Now let's assume this wideness is still too wide for me. I can decide to use the wideness of 20 inches on the upper part of the abaya. So all I need is just to measure 20 inches like this, then I'll connect it. Instead of using 25 inches wideness, can you see the way I'm doing it? I'll just connect it like that. Then I'll connect it down to where the 20 inches on the down part is. So it's so simple. It depends on how wide you want the abaya to be. It's up to you. You can do anything, but have it in mind, you don't want it to be so slim. Anything lesser than that 80 inches circumference, personally I think it's too slim. Now all I need is to cut out my abaya. After cutting out, this is what I have. You can see I chose the one that has the 25 inches wideness on the upper part. So now let's go to the cutting of our hoodie, our hijab, our forehead cap. For this part, you need the free guide. So all you need to do is to download the free guide either in the description box or in the comment section below. This link will direct you to where to download the size guide for free. So you don't want to miss out. Go now into the description box or the comment section and download the free guide. Now we'll be cutting the hoodie of the abaya first. According to the ebook, it says we need 2 pieces of 16 inches by 14 inches. 2 pieces of 16 inches by 14 inches. 16 inches is the length according to the guide, and 14 inches is the width. We are sewing for adults, so we'll be looking at the adult side of the guide. So after measuring out the length for the hoodie, which is 16 inches, I'll cut out the excess on that side. Then I'll cut out the selvage area too, because I don't want that selvage part in my hoodie. So I'll cut it out. Then I will measure 14 inches for the wideness of my hoodie. For the hoodie, I actually measured 14 inches all around. But I think because of the position of my camera, it looks like the measurement here is bent. But believe me, it is 14 inches all through. After that, we'll cut out the excess we have after the measurement. Now don't forget, from this point to this point is the length of the hoodie, and from this point to this point is the wideness of the hoodie. You are just going to shape the wideness of the hoodie on the upper part. We'll shape it in like this. You can see we can't leave it for corner. You'll notice that hoodies are a little bit roundish on the edge side. So that is what we are doing now. We'll shape that and cut out the excess. Then I also split it into 2 because we have to have 2 pieces of this. Now this is what we have after cutting. You can see we shaped the edge side of the hoodie. from this point to this point is the face circumference. This point to this point is where we'll be fixing to the abaya. It is the wideness, and that is the edge side of the hoodie. So now we're going to set this aside now and work on the hijab. So work on the inner hijab of the abaya. Now for the hijab, unlike the hoodie that is two pieces, the hijab will be on fold. The hijab will be on fold. So the folded part will be the back side, while the open part will be the front side of the hijab. According to the guide, we have 18 to 19 inches for the back length of the hijab and 17 inches for the front length of the hijab. There are basically two ways you can cut the inner hijab of the abaya hoodie. You can either cut it like this. This is a cone shaped hijab, and you can also cut it the same way we cut the hoodie. This actually depends on what you want. So the difference between this cone shaped hijab and the one that has the same cutting with the hoodie is that the one that has the same cutting with the hoodie fits perfectly on the neckline of the abaya, while this one you will need to pleat it. So I prefer this one because it is wider. It is wider, but that one is a little bit slim. So that's why I always prefer to use this. The only time I use that is when I don't have enough fabric, because that one actually reduce the number of fabric we use to make the hoodie abaya. This takes a lot of fabric because we can see it's a coned shape. So I'll show you how to cut this, and I also explain to you how to cut the hoodie like hijab, still using the guide. Now, according to the guide, for the front length of the hijab, I'll measure 17 inches. 17 inches. And for the back length, I'll measure 18 inches or 19 inches. So what I just need to do is to, let's assume I start from the front as I'm doing now. You measure 17 inches. Then as you go, you increase the measurement a little. Maybe from 17 to 17.5 to 18, 18.5 to 19 until you get to the back side. And if you choose to start from the back also, you do the same thing. If you choose to start from 18, you can see I started from 19 here. So if you choose to start from either 19 or 18, you start counting down back to 17, just for you to connect the 2 points. For you to connect the front length, which is 17, and the back length, which is either 18 or 19. Now after that, I'll use my chalk to connect the points. Now before I continue inputting the necessary measurements, I will cut out the selvage on this part too. Then I will measure this face circumference. Don't forget, I earlier mentioned that you measure the face circumference measurement from the client. And if you did not have the opportunity to do that, all you need to do is just to measure 12.5 inches for the face circumference for an adult. But for children, they differ from each other, so I can't say about that. You have to measure it. But for adult, you can measure 12.5. 12 will be for the face circumference, which is 24 inches. Then the remaining half will be for the stitching. Then I'll measure inward like this from this point 5 inches. I'll measure inward. So why I measured inward is just to reduce the wideness of the hijab, of the cone, so that the pleats, when we start pleating it on the abaya, won't be too much. So I only measured 5 inches from the front side inward. Then I connected that point from that 5 inches to the face circumference. After that, I will go ahead to cut the hijab. After cutting, this is what we have. From this point to this point is our back side of the hijab. From this point to this point is the face circumference. So from this point to this point is the remaining part of the front side of the hijab. And the roundish side is where we'll be fixing to our abaya. Now I'll notch the center point here. Then I'll set this aside. Now I'll cut the forehead cap for the hijab. So to do that, I'll fold my fabric into two, then fold again into two. You will see that according to the guide I shared with you, width and length unfold, which means we are folding the width into two, we are also folding the length into two. That is why you see me folding into two, then again folding the wideness also into two. Now after doing that, you can see we are folded twice now. After folding that, I'll measure 7 inches for the wideness of my forehead cap and measure 5 inches for the length of the forehead cap. Then I'll connect the 2 points using my chalk. Then I will cut out. Now for the second method of cutting the inner hijab, all you need to do is to cut it the same way you cut the hoodie. The same way. You can see the shape here is the same way. So the only difference between this and the hoodie is that the length will be 16 inches, just like the hoodie, but the wideness will be totally different from the hoodie. The wideness of it will be the same wideness as the wideness on your abaya neckline. The wideness on your abaya neckline. So you have to measure what you have here on this side of the abaya. What you have on this side will be the same that you will use. Presently we have front and back for the abaya, and for the hijab will have two pieces. So you make sure that what you have, if you unfold the abaya and measure the neckline, what you have on that neckline will be the same as what you will have for the wideness of each piece of the hijab. Now I will cut the sleeve of the abaya. So I won't dwell much on this sleeve part because you can decide to use any sleeve of your choice. So for the sleeve, I laid two fabrics on each other because we'll be cutting two sleeves, right? Then I will fold them into two. Then I will measure 8 inches for the wideness. 8 inches for the wideness. Don't forget that is what I also measured the other time while I was cutting the abaya. So I'll measure 8 inches for the wideness and I'll cut out the excess on the fabric. I will also cut out the selvage on this part of the fabric. Then I will measure my desired sleeve length. So you must have calculated the length of the sleeve you want. You add your allowance. If you are using an elastic, which type of elastic, you add all the proper measurements. So for me, with the length of the sleeve I intend to use, plus my elastic allowance and my joining allowance to the abaya, I have 9 inches. So that is what I'm measuring for the length, 9 inches. Then I will cut it out. After that, I will set it aside. Then we'll work on the last piece of our abaya. Alhamdulillah. So we are cutting the rope now. The rope that will be fixing inside the hood. For me, for adults, I use 45 inches. So for 45 inches length of a rope, you can see the rope extension that we have outside the hoodie. So if you want a longer rope extension, then you can add to the measurement. But for me, I don't like the rope too long. I use 45 inches. So I'm just going to cut 45 inches by one quarter of an inch. Then I'll cut out. After that, I'll put everything in each other and we'll start sewing. Have you downloaded the free guide for this abaya hoodie for all size? All size. Oh. Once you download this guide, you'll be able to make a perfect hoodie abaya for all size. If you have not, rush to the description box now or the comment section and download yours now for free. For free, sis. Now let's start sewing our abaya. Before now, I already went ahead to sew the sleeve and the strap so that won't take much of our time. If you like this sleeve type and you want to make for yourself, I will send the link to the video I made on this type of sleeve in the comment section so that you can watch that one. So now let's go to the hoodie. To make our hoodie, the first thing I will do now is to join the back side. I will join the back side like this and I will show you. After joining that part, this is what I have. I also went ahead to overlock the part just to give it a good finishing. So the next thing I will do is just to add my tag to this point. This is where I love to add my tag when making hoodie abaya. So I'll add my tag to this point. After adding the tag, this is what I have. So the next thing we'll do is to fix the eyelet to the hoodie. Now to fix the eyelet to the hoodie, I need my eyelet plier, I need a pair of eyelet, and I need a stabilizer. Because if we fix this eyelet directly to the clothes, it won't be durable at all. So we'll be using the stabilizer to make that spot that we are fixing the eyelet durable. So now before I do that, I will fold in the allowance I want to use for the rope casing. So you can see the way I folded it. So this is how I'll be aiming that part so as to create casing for the strap, the rope that we made earlier. So I folded in 1.5 inches. 1.5 inches. Then after folding in that like that, it will help me to know where exactly to fix the eyelet. It is better if you can't iron, you can just fold in and use pins to hold down. It is very important so that you'll be able to know where to fix the eyelet. So after doing that, I'll measure 1.5 inches upward. From that point will be fixing to the abaya, to the neckline of the abaya. I'll measure 1.5 inches upward. Then on the other side of the hoodie also I'll measure 1.5 inches upward. Then I'll use my pencil to note that point. It is that point I will just cut a little of it. You want to make sure that the hole we are cutting is smaller than the roundness of the eyelet. You can see how small it is because clothes do stretch. So it's better I stretch the hole to fix in the eyelet than the hole to be bigger than the eyelet. After that, I will cut a small piece of stabilizer, and I will also create a small hole just like I did to the fabric on the stabilizer also. Then I will fix it now before I use my plier to press the eyelet. You can see the way I did it. Then I'll use my plier to press down now. After pressing the eyelet with my eyelet plier, this is what we have. You can see how beautiful it is. So what I'll just do now is to trim off the excess stabilizer I have on the other side, on the negative side of the fabric, you can see. So I've made the stabilizer to be smaller. So now I'll repeat the same process for the other side of the hoodie. After doing that, this is what I have. You can see how beautiful it is. So the next thing I'll be doing now is to fix the rope inside these two eyelets. To do that, I will gently squeeze the edge of the rope through the negative side of the hoodie. Inside the hole of the eyelet, I will squeeze it until it comes out from the other part. This is the easiest method to use when passing the rope through the eyelet because it saves a lot of time. Once the rope is out, all I need is to knot the edge of that rope, and if it is that you want to use any accessory on it, you can go on with that. So after that, I will repeat the same process for the other side. Now the next thing to do is to fold in our 1.5 inches casing allowance. So I will make sure that while folding this side, the rope is inside that casing. The rope is inside it. Now after hemming the rope casing allowance, this is what I have. You can see. So the next thing is to work on the hijab. For the hijab, I'll be fixing the forehead cap to the hijab. To do that, I'll locate the notching on the hijab. Make sure that my positive side is facing upward. Then also I will make sure that the positive side of the forehead cap is also outside. Then I would notch the midpoint of the forehead cap also. I will align the notching on the forehead cap to the notching on the hijab just like this. Then I will sew. After that, this is what I have. I also went ahead to overlock the rough edges on that side. Now the next thing I'll do is to hem the remaining part of the face circumference. So I'll hem it down on the left side like this and hem it down on the right side. After hemming, this is what I have. Now I'll fold the face circumference into two. Don't forget we added ½ inch allowance to the face circumference while cutting. So now I'll join the remaining part of the front side of the hijab. After joining the remaining part of the front side of the hijab, this is what I have. After that, I'll take the front part of my abaya and the back part of my abaya. I'll lay them on the table facing each other, the positive side facing each other. So I want to lay one down, positive side facing up, and I'll lay the other one, the positive side facing the other positive side. Then I'll join the shoulder to the left and also join the shoulder to the right. After joining the shoulders, this is what I have. I already went ahead to overlock the rough edges on that side. Now I'll open up the abaya, take my sleeve, fold the sleeve into two and locate the midpoint. After doing that, I'll make sure that the midpoint on the sleeve is aligned to the joining on the abaya. The shoulder joining we did the other time. So after that, this is what we have. Now I'll fold the abaya into two. You can see I'll fold the abaya into two and join the side of the abaya downward. After joining the side of the abaya, this is what I have. I also went ahead to overlock the rough edge on that side. Now we are going to work on the neckline. We are going to fix both the hoodie and the abaya. So my abaya is presently on the negative side. I will make sure that I notch the midpoint on the front and the back part of the abaya. On the neckline, I will notch the midpoint
on the front and also notch the midpoint on the back neckline. Then I will align the joining. You know there's a joining on the hoodie. I'll make sure I align that joining to the midpoint on the back side.
Then use my pin to hold down, and I will sew the hoodie round the neckline. So I will sew the hoodie round to the left part of the hijab going to the front side, and I also sew it to the right part going to the front side. After attaching the hoodie to the neckline, this is what we presently have. Now we'll be attaching the hijab to the neckline. To do that, we are still on the negative part of the abaya. I will put the hoodie inward like this so that I can have access to the neckline properly. Then I will take the hijab. You know we already have a joining on the front side. For the back side, I will notch the point so that I can know the midpoint for the back side. Then I will also fold the hijab into two again, making 4 folds now, and I will notch the sides. So you can see we have 4 points now. We have the back point, we have the front point, and we have the side point. Now I will align those 4 points on the abaya. I'll make sure that the front joining of the hijab is aligned with the front notch on the abaya. The side notching on the hijab is aligned on the shoulder joining on the left and on the shoulder joining on the right side of the abaya. Then the back notching of the hijab is aligned with the back notching of the hijab. So I will make sure that while doing this, it is the positive side of the hijab that is on the negative side of the hoodie. Take note, the positive side of the hijab will be on the negative side of the hoodie. Now, after aligning all these 4 points, you realize that the hijab is longer than the neckline. So all you need is to pleat the excess on the hijab on the neckline of the abaya. But you want to make sure that you don't pleat on the opened front part of the abaya. You know the hoodie is not covering all parts of the front part. You don't pleat on that side. You make sure that all your pleats are after where the joining of the hoodie starts from. After where the joining of the hood starts from. Now after attaching the hijab to the abaya, this is what I have. You can see how the pleats are. And you will notice that I did not pleat the front side of the hijab. You can see. I also went ahead to overlock the rough edges round the neckline. Now let's see what the positive part of this abaya looks like. Now this is the beautiful outcome of our hoodie abaya. Now you can see how neat the finishing is. So this is what we have presently. This is the sleeve part of the abaya. Let me lay the hijab properly. Let me lay it so that you can see the hijab and the hoodie. You can see. Cut off all the hanging threads and see how beautiful it is. Now the last thing for us is to do is to hem. Whatever hemming allowance you've added from the beginning, now you hem it neatly. After doing that, you give it a good press and your abaya hoodie is ready. MashaAllah. Alhamdulillah. I hope you find this video beneficial. If you do, give me a thumbs up. Ask any question regarding anything you are confused with in the comment section. I will reply inshallah. See you in my next video inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.